Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of RE/MAX Associated Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com. Evergreen Media and Planet Vero present Seeds of Hope. And now here's your hosts of Seeds of Hope, Penny Cook and Del Bates.
Well, hello and welcome to Seeds of Hope, where we give you encouragement for whatever you're facing today, tomorrow, and always. We're so glad you're here because we have a really special show and a special guest today. As a matter of fact, if you have ever thought about writing, or maybe you are a writer, or you know someone who wants to write or is writing, we have a special show for you, so you might want to share this if you're watching on Facebook, or maybe even text a friend and say, hey, you need to tune into this. So I'm Penny Cook, and my co-host is Del Bates, and Del is going to tell you about our special guest.
Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. Last we were on, it was our Christmas show, but here we are into the new year of 2022, and Penny's right. If you have ever thought about writing or you do write, just hit your button and hit share and send this to a friend because they might just want to hear what we have to say today. Our guest today is, I'm going to say an author friend, a dear friend, past, I don't even know, 20 years. And her name is Eva Marie Everson. What I wanted to do is just read kind of a little bit from her actual website, because I know her personally, but you don't know her. So I want you to know her the way her website, Eva Marie Everson. She is a multiple award-winning author and speaker who hails from the, I love it, picturesque southern town of Savannah, Georgia. She is the president of Word Weavers, and also she is the director of the Florida Christian Writers Conference. The thing I love about her the most, and I know it's true, that she enjoys coaching other authors, and that's her heart, is to help other authors get from where they are to where God has a given destiny for them. I was going to share, I met Eva all the way back. They were having their very first writers conference at our hotel. And I remember her coming in, and I thought this Eva Diva was going to come in a three-piece suit and jewelry. And she came in, and she had her jeans and her red and white plaid shirt on, and she was so loving and caring and gave me a hug. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's just that warm friendliness that you see on the screen. That's just who she is.
Amen.
And
Thanks.
and we kind of started there.
Yeah,
So-
we did. I certainly don't want to correct you, but I have to correct you. I'm from Sylvania, Georgia, which is not too far outside of Savannah, but it is definitely, it's my hometown, and I love it, and I'm proud of it. And, for the longest time I said, when somebody said, where are you from? I just say Savannah, because like nobody's heard of Sylvania. And then I became pleasantly surprised as I began to say, just outside of Savannah, oh, where in particular? Sylvania, Georgia. I've been there. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to start saying Sylvania. And if you don't know where it is, you can look it up. It's kind of a Mayberry type, it's just that Mayberry-esque. So I love Mayberry. So yeah.
Okay.
And now you live in Florida.
Yes, I do.
And
Yes, I've been prisoner of war here for over 30 years.
Wow. 30 years.
I've been here for 30 years too, from New England. So
That is different. Yeah. It's funny because somebody said to me after I moved here and kind of, got my feet wet, they said, well, at least you're still in the South. And I said, oh no, honey, you've got to go north to get south of here. So, because we are really in a mecca, Central Florida and then on down into South Florida. Truly, it's just a mecca of so many different people from so many different places.
However, if you are from New England, this is the South.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're south of New England, but yeah, it's not the true South here.
Right.
So you also run the Florida Christian Writers Conference. which is the first writers conference I ever went to.
And the same for me. Very first one. Very first conference.
Yeah, that would make sense since you're both Floridians. It's so funny to me. I look back on when I first got into the industry and I was being asked to teach at writers conferences and doing that kind of thing. And then I heard about the Florida Christian Writers Conference and that it had been started and was being run by a woman named Billy Wilson. And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, I'm practically in your backyard. I'm happy to come and teach at your conference. And she didn't know me from Adam's House Cat. So it took me, I think, probably at least 2 or 3 years before I ever convinced her, just give me a shot, just to see what happens. And you don't even have to pay me, Billy. Just let me come and give what I have to give. And so she finally said, okay. And I ended up being, I guess you could say, a staple at the conference. And then in 2012, the conference was handed over to me. And so I've, been directing that ever since. Mark Hancock came alongside me until about 2 years ago. And then his work with Trail Life USA just became just insurmountable. And it was so important what he was doing for young boys to young men in our country. And so while Mark has remained on the Word Weavers Advisory Board, Taryn Souters then became the vice president of Word Weavers International and the co-director of Florida Christian Writers Conference. When I was asked to take over the Florida conference, I decided to let Word Weavers basically make that purchase. So now the Florida conference is under the umbrella of Word Weavers International, which became an incorporated entity in 2012 as well. So it all kind of happened at one time, even though Word Weavers goes back to 1997. We're about to celebrate, 25 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Well, that's a good segue into Word Weavers.
Yes, it is.
Let's talk a little bit about that. For listeners who don't know what it is, explain to them what Word Weavers is.
So Word Weavers began as 5 authors, myself included. We all attended the same church, Northland, here in the Orlando area, which was I guess you could say it's a mega church. And we had a woman who, I want to say she had moved here from Hawaii, but yeah, I believe she had moved here from Hawaii, and she was already an author, and she just kind of put the word out there. Hey, if there are any other people in Northland who are writing in any capacity and want to get together and we can kind of be iron sharpening iron, this is when we're going to meet. And so we met on the second Saturday of March, 1997. Couldn't tell you what the date was. I'd have to look that up. But we met not too far from where I live now in the Winter Springs area, and in somebody's home. There were 5 of us. I was writing for a children's ministry at the time. And this woman, her name's Carmen Leal, she had a couple of 3 books that had been published on the subject of Huntington's disease, because her husband was suffering from Huntington's and subsequently has passed away. But this was something that she was doing for, those people who were dealing, like the family members and the friends and the loved ones who were dealing with Huntington's. And at that time, maybe a little known disease. And she was hopefully trying to, put some attention on that. So there were 5 of us, and then there were 7 of us, and then there were 10 of us, and then there were 15 of us, and so on and so forth. And eventually we realized we've got to get organized. And so we got organized, and I, jokingly saying I became the president. But I kind of just said, you know what, this is a vision that the Lord has given me for this group. And I ran with it. And then thanks to the vision of Larry Leach and Sherry Cowell and myself, we were able to become a little more broad, and people started coming in from other areas of the state of Florida, yourself included, I believe. And then in 2008, with the gas shortage that we were having and the skyrocketed prices of gas, it became so difficult for people to even carpool in. And so we said, well, why don't we just have like sister chapters? You know, we call them sister chapters. And then a group in New York sprang up. And the thing that really turned everything around was Jerry Jenkins contacted me. I worked for him. I worked for the Guild. And he contacted me and said, hey, I want to give a presentation in the Orlando area. You know, what can you do to help me? And I said, well, hey, Word Weavers will handle it. And so he didn't know what Word Weavers was, but he saw us in action. And he said, I want to invest in this. I want to make this bigger. And so for the next several months, Larry and Sherry and I worked on a presentation of how we could work together. And for the next year, Jerry Jenkins sewed into Word Weavers, and we ended up, you know, literally all over the world. And, or at least at that point, we were expanding into other countries. We were not literally all over the world then, we are now. But after about a year, you know, he set us free to do our own thing. We became Word Weavers International Incorporated, and we have both traditional groups and non-traditional groups, which means they meet through Zoom online. But what we are a group of writers who get together once a month in various capacities with the understanding that we are iron sharpening iron. And we are helping each other. We are, you know, predominantly a critique group, but we are also about community. We are about conferences, getting our members to conferences, making sure that their work is polished and professional, and that they are prepared as the writers and as the representatives of what they are bringing to the table. We believe that you know, the kingdom of God is truly at hand. I think it's so close, and so we have an enormous job to do. But whatever we do for Him should be done to the absolute best of our ability. So it shouldn't be something shoddy. It should not be, oh, I just wrote these words down and you know, because I felt inspired by God, so I wrote these words down and boom, it's perfect. No, it's never perfect. It's just not. You know, I can even find errors in some of the Holy Writ. So like every time I read be still and know that I am God, I want to say that is not necessary. Have you ever done that? I was like, you can take that out and it's still strong, David. It's still strong. Be still and know.
I noticed those that in the Bible.
Isn't that terrible? I know the first time that happened, and I was looking at a banner in a church and it said, "Be still and know that I am God," Psalm 46:10, and I said that is not necessary. And then I went, "Oh, for heaven's sake!" I'm editing God now. This is not good.
Let's hold that thought because we have to go to a break. Yeah, let's hold that thought. We're going to come back in a minute, and we'll tell you about Eva's writing when we come back.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal Upholstery, Four Seasons, and Capri. We also have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington furniture designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. And right now, all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in Vero Beach next to Planet Fitness. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com and also visit our outlet and closeout store directly across the street.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine Furniture, stop on in today and have a sunshine day.
Music Angels provides music lessons to talented students in need. Don't miss The Many Faces of Beethoven, a concert and multimedia event at First Presbyterian Church in Vero on Friday, January 14th at 6:30. Get tickets at the door or on the Music Angels Education Fund Facebook page.
Riverside Theater is ready for a great new season. Don't miss Rodgers and Hammerstein's musical masterpiece, Carousel, January 4th through the 23rd. A story of love and romance, tragedy and triumph. Carousel features all all of Rodgers and Hammerstein's most beautiful and award-winning music. Get tickets for Carousel, one of the most compelling musicals of all time, at riversidetheater.com and enjoy the excitement of a new season at Riverside Theater. Something fun for everyone.
Sell now or sell later. We'll help you decide with a free home evaluation. I'm Chris Nolan from the Nolan Group of RE/MAX Associated Realty. We'll discuss your options, whether to refinance or how much you can get for your home. No commitment necessary. Visit nolanshow.com.
Hello, and welcome back to the second half of our show, Seeds of Hope. And I am Del Bates, and my co-host is Penny Cook. And we have a very, very special guest on this morning. It is Eva Marie Everson. And she has, in the first half, she's been sharing what Word Weavers is all about. We do want to say one thing, that we have a group right here in the Treasure Coast, and we are called the Treasure Coast Word Weavers. And we meet on the first Saturday of every month. We meet at King's Baptist Church, which is on 58th Street. And anyone, if you are a writer and with Christian content, we welcome you to come and to join us. You could either contact us through our emails, our websites, or just if you'd like to show up this Saturday, 9:30. It is the first Saturday of the month.
Actually, it's the second Saturday of the month, but it will be this coming Saturday.
This Saturday. Okay, I'm mixed up with New Year's.
We changed it recently. So.
We did. We used to meet for the longest time on the first Saturday, and then we started meeting about a year ago, I think, on the second Saturday. So it's the second Saturday, which is this coming Saturday. But we meet at 9:30 at King's Baptist. And we've been hearing from Eva Marie quite a bit about, which is exciting, just the birth of Word Weavers. And it's really been exciting hearing about it. It's interesting because I never realized that it was in 1997, which is actually the year I got married. So 25 years. Thanks for letting me know. 25 years.
Yeah. You're hitting an anniversary. So are we. Yeah. And so, you know what, Dale, I do want to say that, you don't necessarily have to bring in, quote, Christian content. It just cannot be unchristian. Right. It cannot, because some of us do write for newspapers, or we write articles for magazines that are outside of Christian publishing and things like that. We can preach to the choir all we want, but we also want good words to get out there to draw people in. I was thinking this morning about when Jesus gave the parable of the prodigal son, not a whole lot of Christianese in that, is there? And in fact, he talked about him going to work with the pigs. And I mean, that would have been like shocking, like he became a pig farmer, totally shocking for the hearers of Jesus's words. But yet he was trying to make a point. He was trying to get a point across about the goodness of God and the love of the Father. And he just told a story to do it. And it wasn't necessarily a Christian story, He never used the word Christ, and he never used the word Christian, and he never said anything about going to church, and he didn't give a sermon. He just simply told a story and let it resonate within those who heard. So as long as it doesn't go against our statement of faith and values, you are welcome to bring your work in.
And I can't tell you how valuable Word Weavers has been. I have learned so much about the craft of writing through Word Weavers. And, it's a critique group, and don't let that push you off, because it's very positive. We start with something positive. Eva Marie can tell you it's a sandwich method, something positive, then a constructive critique, and then end with something positive again. And even if you don't bring a piece in to be critiqued, you're learning, listening to everyone else's critiques. And I've learned so much. Yeah. And I know I wouldn't be published today if it wasn't for Word Weavers.
And we have newsletters, and we have our Facebook private group page, and it's all about education. Everything's about education. It's about learning and growing and stretching as a writer. It's not easy. Writing is not easy. It is a talent that is given to us, but it is a craft that has to be honed. And it's just like anything else. If God had given me the ability to paint, and he didn't. He didn't even give me the ability to draw a straight line, to be honest. So, but if he had, even if I were a painter or a singer or any type of art, any other type of artist, it would require me to give my due diligence and work at it. And so every gift that God gives to us, our work toward that is our gift back to him.
Amen.
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 It's a good way to put it. But it really is. It's a stretching of ourselves, and it's a continuous learning. Continuous.
And we want to be our best because this show is about hope, and that's what we're doing as writers. In whatever capacity, whether it's nonfiction or fiction, we're giving hope to people. And we want to do that in the best way. We want to say things in the best way, communicate it in a way that it gets received to its full potential.
That's right. Well, if your listeners are curious, it's word-weavers.com. It's not wordweavers.com. Somebody else already owned that many years ago when we first started. So it's word-weavers.com, and they can find out more. They can even find out, if there's a group near them. And if not, we have online groups.
Right. If you're not, if you're listening and you're not in the Vero Beach area, and then there is one in Jensen Beach too. But if you're listening somewhere else, just go to word-weavers.com and you can find a group near you, or maybe even an online group. But we want to talk about Eva Marie's writing too, because she is a wonderful writer.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So our first question is, how old were you when you published your first book?
When I published my first book?
Yeah.
I was in my 40s.
Wow.
Yeah, I was, 43.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 43. I was, by profession, I was a nurse. I went to nursing school and did that off and on for a while. I actually, there were some times in between when I did other jobs. At one time, nurses were not paid what they're paid today. And it was a matter of survival, So I had to go where the money was. But I worked as a nurse off and on until 1992. And then we came here, and I spent about 5 years dealing with in the throes of Epstein-Barr virus, which I had contracted, and just was not able to work, just had to take care of myself. And in the process of that, I started reading a lot again. I had been, wife, mommy, very active in ministry, very, very, very busy at work and all of this. So I had not had time to do a lot of reading like I had done in my earlier years. I was definitely a bookaholic, growing up, but started reading again. And then that reignited my passion for writing. And I just put my hand to it one day I was writing for a children's ministry from 1996 through part of 1997. And then, and I was not being paid or anything like that. It was just a gift it was a gift that was given to me, this opportunity. And it was something that I gave back. It didn't take a whole lot out of my day or my week. But that's how I ended up in Word Weavers. And then I just had this idea for a novel, and I sat down and started writing and got a little bit into it and realized I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. So I stopped long enough to start studying the craft and to find out what it meant to write works of fiction. And I realized just how hard it was. There is a method to the madness, but it's a lot of hard work. And anybody who's ever tried writing anything, fiction, nonfiction, it doesn't matter. I write both. It's a lot of hard work. And so I, learned a little bit about the craft, and the Lord just opened a door for me in publishing, and I walked through it as just as innocent and naive as anybody. But I was 43 years old when the first book was published.
So we have less than a minute. How many books now do you have?
I have 40 books in print, and I have 2 coming out, I think, this year. I've got a children's book, believe it or not. And this
is your latest,
that's
right?
My last year's. Yes. Dust is my last novel, the 40th book, the last novel. It's the one that I worked the hardest on in all the books I've ever written. I don't think I've ever poured as much blood onto a page as that book.
Wow.
Very proud of it.
And I'm loving it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, we will put all this
but then
information.
I have a nonfiction book coming out after the children's book. So
awesome! I'm excited to see that. We will put all this information in the comments on Facebook so that you'll have it too. Right. Eva Marie, thank you so much for coming and being with us today. We really appreciate it.
And just one final thing. If you go to evamarieeverson.com, that's not me. That's a name squatter. evamarieeversonauthor.com.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.